do this.
Yes.
Je me fais entrevue.
Abdoulaye Diao,
Yes.
content de t'avoir sur l'épisode. Merci d'avoir pris le temps de venir nous voir.
Je vais pas faire ça en anglais. You can do it in English if you want.
Yeah, let's do this in English.
Alright.
So basically, could you introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself.
Well, myself. As I said, I'm Abdoulaye Diao, his big brother,
Yes.
his big small brother. But who am I?
For people who don't know you.
People who don't know. Well, my background, I'm from Senegal, as a lot of people can see. Dark skin, a tall guy, a big smile, a nice smile, white smile. I was born in Senegal with my father was there, my mom. I'm from a family of 7, including the little guy here. So we're actually 4 girls and 3 boys. Spent Senegal most of my life there, going to school, having the family around, living in a big family. You know, like we were having actually. It's quite different here in Canada, where you have like a house of maybe 5, 6 family in the same house, in the same big house. You have like your grandfather, you have like many. Senegal is 90% Muslim, if it's not 98, 99% Muslim.
How was it? Was it nice living with all these people?
Yeah, definitely. There's actually there's always some cons and some pros. So it's
What are
actually
the cons? What are the pros?
well, definitely having
A big social
a big social network, being surrounded with a lot of people, knowing that you can always like have somebody around. Even there, last time I was like talking to my mom, for example, asking her like when they were there, how do we do with daycare? Like here, people are always looking for daycare, asking like for if they get a daycare. Over there, actually isn't. So you just leave. There's some people there to take care of your kid, and you know, because they were always somebody around. Remember, like we're living close to Dakar, so you have friends around, going to play soccer a lot. That's when I was actually playing soccer a lot. So I fell in love with the sport, played a lot during my life. But I have like my grandfather over there, my grandmother. My grandfather had like 3 or 4 wives, and each of them like have maybe 2 or 3 children. So it was like a big house of like 3, 4, 6 generation of people. You have your cousins, your uncles, your nieces, your nephew, your mother, your aunt.
And what about the cons of it? Like what's like not that great?
Well, the cons is always, you know,
Always someone.
always someone having like to deal with the conflict,
The noise. Never by yourself.
But the thing is, I was quite young, so I left Senegal when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
So it was not actually as a young kid. Usually, you don't have like that much of a problem. You can sleep whenever. The noise, yeah, it could be a problem, but you actually just sleep like whatever. You play. You're not actually an adult. You need your space. You don't want to deal with people at a certain time. So it was not that much of a cons, but I think maybe the conflict between different parts of the family, I would say. Like, let's say, this person with his wife and his kids dealing with that. There was an issue, but I think it was mostly that. Like,
For sure. And when you came here to Canada, were you excited? Were you like, what did you thought? Did you tell them like the stereotypes, the snow all the time, and
well, even
maple syrup? What did you know about it? Like, did you know?
you know, not much.
French speaking.
Yeah, I was definitely I was speaking French. My dad put us in one great school over there called Cathédrale. So it was actually obviously a French school in Senegal. Like it's the French is considered like one of the main language, so it's most of the people. Well, I would not say most, but French is very common because there's also a lot of people who maybe don't have like the education, so they not necessarily speak French, but they can stand the conversation, talk a bit. It's mostly well off, and there's other language that is spoken. But you know, I was speaking French. I was enjoying the time over there. Honestly, again, it was very good memory. Like
growing up
there. I was going at Cathédrale, so every time we had to like take the bus. Yeah, really early in the morning, walking during the night, and going to take the bus.
So you knew you wouldn't have a problem with language. So you knew like French was spoken here.
So that's also another thing that Dad thought about, because he was actually in the States before he came to Quebec.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think he said that the state was actually not the best place to live around. Quite hard finding a job. And then he thought about Montreal. It was a big city. The condition was good. Could easily get the passport, being a citizen, and it was French. So he decided, like, instead of learning English immediately, he brought us like to French. And I remember like maybe few months or few weeks before we actually came, he sent us a postcard of Montreal. So, and I remember at that time, because in French, by the way, it's we said Montréal.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to Mason and saying, "Oh, well, yeah, we're going to Montréal." And he was laughing at me and saying, "No, it's not Montréal, it's Montréal." So at that time, I found it really funny, but it was nice. It was a postcard with all the buildings, the lights. It was like during the line. Huh?
You still got it?
I don't think so, but I remember it clearly.
Yeah,
It was one of those nice postcards of Montreal. Probably if I see another one in the city, I will recognize that one. But no, I remember that postcard, and from there it was like all the preparation, getting ready to actually come here. One of my friends' dad was actually your how do you say it in French? Your
uncle.
Not uncle, it's called homonyme in French.
Oh,
so he's named after you.
Yeah.
No,
I'm
you were
named
named after him.
Yeah.
So he's called Tidiane Diba.
Yeah.
He's now in the States. Well, he lives there.
Were you sad to leave all your friends? Were they jealous of you for leaving? Like, how was
See, that's the part I actually didn't.
You don't remember much?
No, that part of leaving Senegal, I think it was mostly.
Took a plane for the first time?
Yeah, it was mostly like all the
preparation.
the excitement of discovering something new.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting that you're asking it, because I realized that most of the time during my life, when I had to leave a place,
Yeah. You didn't felt anything?
but it was not I didn't feel anything, but it's mostly like I'm not like stressed about it. I'm not like, oh my god, I'm going to leave this. This is gonna be horrible. I'm talking to some other people where like it's actually something stressful. They will cry. They will love. They will call their parents or whatever. It's more something hard to do, but it was not actually something, because I have to actually leave with my older sister, and Marietou.
Yes.
Fatou, Mesa, and Marietou. And it was like a new experience. My mom had to stay there for I think we haven't seen each other for like 9 years before she came.
Oh wow.
So no, I don't remember like that part where you're saying, "Oh, goodbye, I'm gonna miss you," and you cry, and I don't remember actually that part. It's been almost like 24 years. So.
And now you have kids. Would you put them in Cathédrale? You remember fondly.
Yeah, it was Cathédrale was. I mean, I don't know how the school is. It's if it's a good school, I will put them. But right now, I mean, they're here, so I'll probably put them in school here.
For sure.
So, but no, Cathédrale was.
too bad.
Seems like fairly a good school when I was there. I remember every morning before we started school, they had to they were lifting the flag.
Oh wow!
And we have to sing
Wow.
the
the anthem,
the national anthem.
anthem. That's crazy.
So that was quite funny. No, it was quite nice. There's also Mesa was going there,
Yeah.
so it was actually my protector.
All right. Yeah. Exactly.
So if somebody was messing with me, I would call Mesa.
Right.
And there was another one, another guy called Abdou.
Yeah.
He's actually also, he was named after Papa, so
Yeah.
after our father Abdou,
Mhm.
and he was also there. So whenever somebody was messing with me, I had like those two bodyguards.
Well, protection.
Yeah, protection time. So no, it was quite fun.
Nice. And fast forward, you came here.
Yeah, I came here in 2000, September 2000. Went to school, Saint Bernadette.
Yeah.
You were here before.
Yeah, I
Came
was
here-
2 years old.
Yeah,
so.
2 years old. Came in the States before. I even have the picture of the house we were living in
Yeah, the one. The first
in
one.
Keynesian Avenue.
Ah, yeah, and the school was like right across, right?
Yeah, right across.
Yeah, I can
So
yeah.
no, we came September 2000. School already started.
And we're in the basement, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
We were in the basement, in the front, and there was 2 apartments. We ended up like having.
The same one.
No, we ended up having like the 2 apartment.
Oh,
So that rented like the 2 apartment because we were
a big family.
like
Sweet.
6 at that time, and
Was-
yeah,
Was starting school in a new country hard? Was it
definitely. I think to every new
Right.
comers immigrant that you talk to, it's something you have to adapt. Obviously, the language.
Yeah.
In Quebec, it's you have to get used to the language. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
part of it.
The
Maintenant,
accent-
je parle bien. Je comprends l'accent, pas de problème. On sac même des fois.
Yeah, the accent is pretty strong. So we speak French. in
No.
Quebec.
Reminder to the French people, we
Yeah.
speak French in Québec. On parle français, même s'il y a un accent des fois carré.
Yeah, stop putting subtitles in our movies. But no, that's great. So you came here. You played soccer for years, basically all your youth.
Yeah, soccer was definitely part of my life. I think,
You was back in Senegal.
yeah, that's one of the things back in Senegal where we were always outside, playing. There was soccer all the time. We were running, doing stuff. So I think I kept that like
Passion.
Yeah, that passion of just doing sports in general. So when I came in, I was most of the time I was always like going out, having fun, playing around. There was that school like called Saint Bernadette, and but I think as soon as that I started high school,
Yeah.
so I was in it's grade 4, I think I came in. Is it grade 4? Yeah, grade 4. So I had to do 2 years
Yeah.
before going to high school.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started high school, started doing like competition with other high school.
Okay.
So it was, and I remember we were doing quite well. I was at La Voix in Côte des Neiges.
Yeah.
Went to final the first year,
Yeah.
and then I went to Marquette. I played for 4 years. Also, I think if you hadn't went to final,
Semi-final.
yeah, always semi-final at least. So it was doing a lot of competition, and I also when I started high school, I think 2 years later, I joined a club called Outremont,
Yeah.
and it was a guy named Richard.
Yeah.
Anyway, the thing he was doing was pretty crazy because he was taking people like young kids from Côte des Neiges and other like
Yeah.
let's say more rough neighborhood,
Okay.
and he was
Recruiting.
he was recruiting and he was paying us like everything, like the food, the ball, the bags, all the equipment that you needed, and we didn't have to pay anything, like the travel, the food, the hotel, everything was taken care of. So he was.
So he was a coach and a scout and a president of the club.
I mean, Richard was like honestly a great role model. Like he was a guy who was giving us not only like to play soccer, but the way to
Guidance.
guidance. a way to behave well, a way to like actually be more more of a good person. You know, invest and don't do like crazy stuff. Whenever we're doing stuff that weren't supposed to do, he would like tell us not to actually do it. So he was really invest more than just being a coach.
Yes, sir. We talked about often like the way martial arts or sports, they don't just shape you into a better athlete, they shape you into a better person. And you learn so much, especially in a team sport. You know, like you have 11 other people, you have your coach, and yeah, I mean, and then for someone to invest time in these young people, like he's showing us like a role model, like you said, and it's crazy. Like those people in your life, they impact you so much, and sometimes they don't even realize. Like 20 years later, you meet them, you're like, man, you changed my life, and, and to them it was just normal, it was just natural. But you think about it like years afterwards, like, and it's crazy. It's really crazy. Like someone might be a criminal, and then he goes to church, and then the priest doesn't see him again, but like, he just changed completely his life, and you know the impact you have. It's that's the thing. Like just a smile sometimes can change your life. I mean, I have encounters that lasted 30 seconds, but I still think about them today. Like, I mean, I've been at low points where, you know, I was going to the grocery stores and I had enough to pay for my food, and the clerk, who did not know me, would look into his pockets and be like, oh, what do you need? And it's just like, I never seen that guy again, ever in my life, but I still think about it today. It's like, this desire to do good, it's impressive, like, because you could do bad, like you don't have to, and to just take the time and to look at like how can I impact my community, how can I, just one person, just, you know, and it makes a difference. Because let's say you never met Richard, like, okay, maybe your life wouldn't be that different, or maybe it would be very different.
Well, me, honestly, I think just the fact of seeing somebody who invests a lot into those young, I mean, just having like to know all those guys that I was doing sport with,
like friends.
Yeah, the friends, and like there's some people that I know that with whom I have like a relationship. We were doing like a get together like after I think few years, and there's some people that you always have contact, and
the high school reunion.
Yeah, some kind of high school reunion. So no, it was something that
it has no price.
Yeah, it has no price when you do it like with love, with
you feel it.
You feel it, and the thing is, you don't realize it like at the moment. So you realize like many years before, and even the thing is, I've met him a few years later, because when I went to Polytechnique for at the university, he was actually a teacher over there.
He was a teacher.
And even there, like Mesa, my big brother, was one of his.
One of his students.
Yeah, one of his students, and he was telling me how good of a mathematician he was. So he was actually like even
he was impacting
other people, because he was telling me he's one of the greatest teacher that people knew at the university.
That's crazy.
So he's really awesome, very good pedagogue. That's now, thinking about it, I realize now how good of a teacher he was, because he was actually a teacher. So, and he was brilliant also. He was doing the kind of math.
Yeah.
He was a math university at the.
Yeah.
So that guy had like a PhD.
Oh.
In math. I was doing like university standard math, but he was like at another level. He was actually teaching math
and in terms of grades, high school, university, that wasn't too tough for you. You were doing great. You were doing well.
That's the craziest thing, because when I was in Senegal, I was actually considered like one of the last. You were bringing like your
report card.
Your report card, and I was like one of the last one. But for somehow when I came here, remember? I was doing actually great.
Yeah.
Maybe like the environment, maybe the way they were teaching. I wouldn't necessarily say that it was easier or something, but I think it was just different. I started like doing well. I had good grades.
Yeah.
Things wasn't. I had to work hard still, especially when I started university. Even we have here we have like in Quebec we have what we say cégep, so it's between high school and university.
Yeah.
It's like in the between, but so in the university and cégep I had to work hard. I had to work hard for the grade. I started with a very good GPA. I was like in the upper like almost B plus or A. GPA. After that, it went a little bit down.
Yeah.
I know I had to really work hard in university.
Yeah.
But in high school, in CEGEP, I was doing quite fine. I had great.
Did you know at that time, like finishing high school, what you wanted to do later on?
That was crazy because I knew it. I knew before, even I think at grade 4. So when I was like,
Coming here.
when I was like maybe 12, 13 years old, I think. I already knew that I wanted to be a civil engineer.
Wow. Like how come you wanted to do that? Like what made you think?
Well, that's the thing. I think when I've started when I came here, I think my grades was doing well. Like I see, I'm actually doing good.
Yeah.
And I even still have my my card, my report like from Senegal.
Yeah.
And you could have seen my grade was really bad. But actually, when I came here, it was doing good at the high school. I mean, it was not something hard.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a lot of sports, so it was not that I had to work hard every day. I had to study and everything, but most of the time I was at the gym, like almost every day. When I finished school, from 3 to 6, 7, I was at the gym, either playing soccer or doing something else. And I started noticing that I like mathematics, physics, and it was stuff that I'm good at it. And at the other hand, I also like doing manual stuff. So, and it's crazy. It was just like actually that referred me to somebody who was actually a photographer in Montreal who wanted like to put tiles on his floor. And I started doing that. I liked it, and I was like, I love math. I love like doing construction. What is the great mix? Somebody told me civil engineering.
Oh, that's crazy.
And since that time, remember had a book. Whenever like you were deciding what's your career, they giving you a book of a list of career. See civil engineering. So I went to the foire aux emplois. So so when you're looking for a job, like a job fair, so and talk to the people, tell me like what's an engineer, what they do, and since then subscribe. The rest is
history.
Yeah.
So you went on to go to university, get your degree, and become an engineer.
Yeah. So once I finished school, I knew that I wanted to do wanted to go civil engineering. I had to go like an adult school, so I didn't have all my degree, all the classes that I needed to finish.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there, finished it, had like a very great mark. Went to CEGEP, and then started like at university. And again, on the first semester was like doing great. I had like great marks. And in the end, I think it kept getting harder and harder. And I had to work also.
Oh yeah.
So
a job plus studying.
Yeah. So that was a hard part, like working and doing doing school was like if I had the chance I wouldn't not like work.
Oh really? Okay.
I mean it's good to do it because it gives you like a balance, but honestly I remember like finishing work. I was working during the weekend from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. finishing school, going to school at 6.
Yeah.
Trying to work for like 3 hours or 4 hours, trying to study for 3 or 4 hours, and then went back on the next day and the Sunday. There's some people who can do it, who can actually do like 15, 20, some people sometimes work 30 hours
Yeah.
and they're still doing at school, but for me it was like quite hard. But I
Yeah.
did it.
I always recommend to not work that much,
Yeah.
especially like if you really need to focus. But yeah, you had like a grocery store job, and then
Yeah, grocery store. I mean, I have to pay the bills, help the
also
the house. Even for me, I have to pay my
yeah,
school, like cell phone, school. It's not somebody was paying it for me.
yeah, exactly.
My brother, sister were already working like to pay all the rest of the bills. So it was like quite something that I had to deal with it by myself. But kind of gave me like the structure on how to deal with the money. Never quite had like a real money issue in the sense that there were sometimes that were really hard.
Mm-hmm.
That look at the bank account and
Yeah.
where's the money at?
Yeah.
But other than that, like I remember when I was going out for say with friends,
Yeah.
I was not the one that was like, man, I don't have no money, I'm not going out and because I was working. I remember when going to Calgary.
Yeah.
That's where I actually had the chance like to speak, develop my English.
Yeah.
But went there for a summer. I was doing the dishes. It was quite nice in the restaurant. But I was getting paid a lot of money.
Yeah. Why not go every summer? Like why just once? Like what made you just go?
I don't know. I think somebody told me about it that you can go there. I think it was mostly like to practice the English.
Oh, okay.
So I knew somebody who was already there, wanted to practice my English and get some money.
Yeah.
So at that time it was quite a lot of money. I came back. I think I had like $2,000. I'm rich.
Yeah.
I'm rich. I was not paying rent. I was working, and it was quite fun to enjoy. So
Absolutely. And eventually you pivoted from a strictly civil engineer job to an investor, real estate in particular.
Yeah. Discovered that passion. Like
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people who would like to dive into the real estate.
Yeah.
I think whatever area you want to like dive into and concentrate your life, you need to have that passion kind of coming with it, and you need to enjoy it at a certain point. So when I finished school, I was actually like I think one of the good advices that I had when I finished school was from Raila.
Yeah.
So Mesa's my big brother wife, and she told me like keep on living like a broke ass student.
Yeah. That was one of the best advice.
Keep on living like a broke ass student until you feel like you can actually do good. But I know that was a very good advice. And I remember just before finish school, I left Montreal to go to Gatineau.
Yeah.
My actual wife now and my girlfriend at the time, Giselle Lissenby, the one and only Giselle. So we had like we were getting married actually at that time in 2015. So and getting married, it's
it's expensive.
very very expensive. So you have to gather money, but I wasn't working.
Yeah.
You know, I finished school, left Montreal, came here because Giselle was here, was working.
Yeah.
And I wasn't working, so I had to like manage it, find how do you say it? Find an apartment. But the wedding was like very expensive, so I remember I even had like a debt.
Yeah,
so we were talking about the net value.
Net worth.
The net worth.
Absolutely.
But at that time it was like minus $2,000.
Yeah.
So I had like debt of.
Isn't it
3,000 or something.
interesting when you're starting out? That's when you want to do everything and build a career for yourself, a life. But that's when you have the least amount of resource in terms of financial aspect of it. But the thing is, that's really motivating because you're like, oh, like I need to get a job. I need to start building up my savings and everything like that. I mean, I want to get married. I want to have kids and everything like that. So is that where you started to look into real estate, or did you read a book in particular? Like, what was it about?
I think I never actually read the book. It's just that I'm still wondering where I get that big envy of that financially independent, because that's where it started. It didn't start with the real estate. I think I was in Primerica like for a year when I was in university. Left it because there was a lot of people talking about the Primerica. It's criminal. It's like multi-level marketing. It's not good and everything. So I left it. When I came back, for 6 months I wasn't working. Like from 2015 June to November I wasn't working. I was looking for a job. Very active. I was going some different places, giving my resume, and I wasn't working. But the guy that was in Primerica he kind of told me to come back and try and like really gonna get into it. And that's actually where I've developed the mindset of like financial independence. Right. So we were like into it all the time. He was talking about it. He was they were giving training, and you can say a lot of things about the multi-level marketing, but if you get into a good team, the training that you get there for like pushing the sales, in the sense like asking for something and getting a no, which is something like quite it can be quite stressful and draining, and somebody telling you no, but you keep going. It's really there that I get. And they were exposing like how the money works. Why would you take your money invested in the bank? Would take like would give you like 0.5%, 2%, 3%, and they were making like 15%. People would tell me like, yeah, it's risky to do it by yourself and you would just have the money. Yes, but I mean, life is risky also, so
absolutely.
You have to take a certain risk. But it's really with Primerica that that kind of like develop that mindset of trying to be financially independent.
So basically, even if you made no money from it, the fact that it was an environment that was shaping you into someone who was thinking about money, and they were also teaching you financial literacy, like hey, like this is how banks work, this is how money works. Just that was so like it was valuable, and that's the thing that sparked you into thinking and viewing the world as like, how can I be financially independent?
That's honestly, I was even actually talking to a guy last time, because I still have my some investment with them with Primerica. So I was talking to him, and we were like planning some stuff and doing other investment, and I was like telling him, man, Primerica, I don't know if you're still doing the training, but it was something
different.
So something like really, really, really valuable. And sometimes you don't value that, but that mindset that you have and being in an environment that could like making you see different way of thinking, it's actually helping. And at the time, again, I didn't have the job. Was was $3,000 debt. Giselle was the only one who was working, and I was looking for a job. So I was mostly like trying to build up and getting a job, but on the other hand, I was also like trying to see how can I get that being financially independent. And that's when you finished school, you started like naturally thinking to buy a house. And I think that mindset of like not getting into that circle of life where you finish school, you buy your first, you wanna get your first job. Getting your first job, you get your car. Getting your car, you get your
2.5 kids.
Your kids and your house, and you're getting like into debt. Sometimes you're investing, but not a lot. So I didn't want to get into that, and I really started like diving into real estate. And even the guy who was at Primerica, he's the one gave me like an Excel sheet about how to calculate like how a building can be profitable. And since I had that, man, I was like gone. I took that, put it, And we were talking about Giselle, and I told him like, if we buy a house,
Yeah.
would be paying every month. We're taking, if we had a mortgage of $2,000,
Yeah.
and all the expense that would come,
Yeah.
would, let's say, to 2,500.
Yeah.
So I told him like, without the Excel sheet, every month we would take like maybe $1,000 out of those 2,500,
Yeah.
and kind of like give it as it's an expense.
Right.
It's not something that it's actually an expense,
Yeah.
and you're maybe just getting like the 1,000 or another 1,500 into like saving.
Yeah.
So knowing like what's financial independence is and how the money works, you actually see it's not an investment.
Yeah.
You're putting $2,000 a month,
Yeah.
and you're giving like $1,000 for expense, and you're only saving
1,000.
1,500. So you're like, okay, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
There's something else that we can do with that. And for some people, it's good to be in real estate. Some other people don't, but I wasn't not ready to put $1,000 just for the let's say for the pleasure or the fun of having a house. Especially you have to take care of it. And so I told them, if we add, let's say, another apartment into that house, which is like a duplex,
Yeah.
or maybe even go to a triplex,
Yeah.
that's another level, because you're having like somebody paying you a rent for 1,000,
Right.
and each had like to pay 3,000.
Yeah.
There's two people paying like 700, 800, 1,000. Your expense cuts in half, and
Yeah.
those the one who's paying all
The
the
mortgage,
expense, the
yeah.
mortgage, and the only money you're putting is actually to save.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. We're just saving money,
Right.
we're not spending money. So
And that's what you did.
that's exactly what I did.
You got a triplex and two important
And
things.
I before we just keep going, I have to for that I really have to give like
Details.
credit to
Right.
Giselle, my wife,
Yeah.
because I actually talked to a lot of people who was saying that they were talking to their wife, or they were talking to the people that were living it, that they wanted actually to move, let's say, from their apartment
Yeah.
to a basement
Oh.
before like to pay less, and then buy a house or buy a duplex. And that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
We're living in a quite nice apartment. We were saying last time. I remember
Yeah.
it was quite new. It was nice,
Yeah.
and we moved in a basement that had like was. I think we were paying like 500 or
A month?
595 a month
Wow.
for two for an adult for an apartment of 1 bedroom. So that allowed us to save a lot. But just to say that having somebody who kind of believe in you and who's ready to sacrifice.
Yeah.
If she had said no,
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. I wouldn't buy the triplex that we have. That triplex wouldn't put value, and I wouldn't be probably at the level I'm right now. So
Absolutely. That's the that's a testament of having somebody in your corner, but you know the person you marry is one of the most important decisions you make. Like you don't want someone that's like completely at the opposite of you. You want like someone who sees where you're going, even if they don't agree, they might help you out and support you, and that's very powerful. Like, but two things you mentioned, like the fact that in society we don't learn about financial literacy, and the fact that when you invest by yourself as a financially literate person, you make more money. And if we never taught you about the concept of being financially free, like how can you go after that goal, right? And how can you have a solid plan to reach that goal? And the thing is, someone taught you about it, and here you are. Like it's just knowledge sometimes that's the barrier to just being able to have control of your time and have true freedom.
Oh, definitely, it's crazy because
and anything from books to videos, anything can give you the key to that barrier.
And especially with that, again, I'm coming back to Primerica. Maybe I'm doing like advertisement promotion Primerica, but I mean it was just the training. Maybe you were another teams that could do the same thing, or some people who do the company Bell and Vidéotron. you're knocking at their door at your
Right.
door and trying to sell some stuff. Those people are also like knows the technique of sales and training and the mindset, and if you have a no, keep going, but no, they just train you and give you information, and that's where also like I've learned I've kind of like get into touch with reading.
Yeah.
Read as much as you can,
Yeah.
and read stuff that is mostly like biography,
Okay.
like people who will actually live something,
Yep.
and not like fictional. You can read fictional stuff. Like Giselle
Mhm.
reads like 10 times more than I do.
Yeah.
She lives in books, and it's pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
so she read more than I do, and but still reading is also like one of the things that open up your mind.
Yeah.
And if you can have just a little tips, even if it's a small thing,
Yeah.
about like one type of investment or other stuff, it can really help you. You don't need to sometimes learn the whole and master like the books. You just read it, and this little knowledge adds up. You talk to a person, and then you realize that you want something, and it gives you an idea to another thing, and you just keep on stacking, and
Absolutely.
that's such a very good thing.
Like I started reading books, listening to audiobooks, and sometimes people ask you like what are you reading? Like what did you learn? But the thing is, it's like a meal. Like how many meals did you have? Thousands. You don't remember every meal, but they made you literally at a cellular level. And that's the thing, like.
And you're getting like philosophical right now.
but it's pretty true. Like you don't necessarily notice it, but it's you're feeding your brain, you're feeding your
mind.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not necessarily particularly that meal, that book that made you, but it's the collective.
Yeah, of all the books that you.
Exactly, over the years.
Yeah, I saw that you had a book on your deck.
Yeah.
It was Sartre.
Uh,
And I forgot the title of the book, but I was like something on the. It was a
philosophical.
Philosophical book. I think it was Jean-Paul Sartre.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, it was Jean-Paul Sartre, the book that I saw, and it was something about God and God and the devil. Was it God and the devil?
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
The thing is, I dropped out of high school at one point. I didn't go the university route like you. So at one point, I wanted to compensate and just catch up. Eventually, I learned that I really like learning stuff,
Right.
and I do it now not to catch up necessarily, but to grow. I love growth and just being better, being smarter, and as much as I can. And it's a journey. Like it's like sometimes some concepts are hard, but if you find the resource, the audiobooks, so much free stuff on the internet. We're in the library right now. You can come in, rent books, and those books can literally change your life. That's the thing. Like if they spark an idea, and then you talk to someone about it, and they refer you to, a company like Primerica, and like it's really a network effect. But just accumulate those.
Yeah, no, honestly, and one of the things that helped me also into that, it's also like surrounding yourself of the people that you actually have what you want. Because I agree with what you're saying in the sense that you have to learn, but you have to learn also the good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot learn like the stuff that's useless or stuff that you now internet is like everywhere. You have the AI that give you like if you search on something, it will give you the same thing over and over and over again, and and I think it really starts into knowing yourself, like really what kind of drives you, what you really want. I've discovered meditating like few years ago, maybe like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's quite nice because it's forced you like to dive deep inside of you, trying to like focus in what you want in yourself, what actually do you want in life, how do you imagine your life 5 years from now, 1 year, 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So
You feel it makes a difference? Like it helped you
meditating, yeah. I'm trying to doing it like
more often.
yeah, more often, like kind of like every morning before I start my day.
Yeah.
Like just a 10-minute meditation, just to kind of like cool down, and I kind of compensate it with also listening to motivation speech. They're saying like you have to go
Really hard.
deep, like real hard. I mean, I agree with that, but life is not only like always going hard and have that drill surgeon. Shout out to Laurie Santos from. There's a nice podcast called Happiness Lab,
Nice.
who actually talk about specifically on happiness and the mechanism of the brain, like to help you be more happy. And all this is science based.
Neurochemicals. and
Yeah,
stuff.
so mostly it's a tool to have that drill surgeon, but it's also like a tool to be more compassionate about yourself, and it's quite small. The when you're saying being compassionate about yourself. Let's say last time, like I woke up at 5 morning in the AM. Had to go do a run because I'm trying to do that like in the morning. And there was like the security guy downstairs. I had like a pants with paint, and he thought I was a painter and he asked me like, "Oh, do you not have a job for paint?" I said, "No, like I don't. I have my own building that I was painting inside." And the thing is, I had somebody that was working for me. You'll see when I'm getting with that, like into being more passionate about yourself. But he just asked me like about painting, and I thought, it could be because I'm always looking for a guy that could, help me with the maintenance guy. And I had two before who I was working with, but we ended up having like an issue in the sense that I called them, they didn't came. I called them back, they didn't came. I ended up like cutting the contract, and I always felt like usually that am I the one who did something wrong? Why like it didn't work? And if that guy that I knew that I met at that time at that moment was talking about those to those guys, what would he say? Would he say like I'm a really bad client because we started something and bad? And it's pretty crazy because all that I'm telling you right now went to my brain in a matter of seconds. He just told me paint, and I thought he could help me about my painting job, and I thought about that guy with me an issue, and it came out to me being a bad client because I had issue with him. So, but right after that, started my running, put the music, started listening about motivational speak with your book, and there was that part about being more passionate, understanding yourself, and seeing that you're doing actually something, you're progressing, and life is something tough. But if you're always looking about the bad part, it will start like kind of drains you. And I switched it, and I did. And I actually said like, I'm actually going out. That guy asked me for an information. I helped him because he wanted to know how he can get other job, and it's not because like he asked me that, and I had problem with the other people that I'm a bad client or anything about it. So kind of just like switch it your mind. And that's it. So it's sometimes like those little stuff that could help, and having a balance of pushing yourself, and also being more compassionate about with you. It's also very helpful.
Absolutely, like you can control the thoughts that you have in a certain way. Like some people think about the fact that thoughts can be something that's transitory. So you can feel something, think about something, and just let it go. Like fighting it is a bad thing because what you resist persists. So the more you fight it, the more it stays. But the thing is, you do have a control. Like you can recalibrate your brain, you can reorganize it, and every time you have a feeling, you're like, no, this is just a moment. Like I'm actually competent. Like for someone who's like not confident, you can say like, oh, but I'm working on being confident. And like it's just things like, because you can work on your physical, but you can work on your mental too. Like, you can be better and like just more courageous to have these fears and thoughts. Like, tackle those. Like, what are they? Like, let's just talk about it. Like, to be like, I'm actually fearful. Like, just that moment of you admitting it. Like, now you can tackle it. Like, if you admit the problems, it's the first step, as they say.
Yeah, that's something scary. And I'm going back to the article that I read about Carl.
Yeah.
So the seminar we have DJ training. And sport also helped me a lot with that, because at a certain point when you're doing sport, you reach a moment where your body is like, why are you doing this? You're going to die. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Stop doing it. Yeah. And you reach that moment where you're kind of like, you have to shut either your brain or just tell to your brain, I'm gonna keep doing it no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's when actually you want to like to learn to manage and learn to not control your brain, but mostly
those voices.
Yeah, those voices, and you're tired, and telling you just stop, you shouldn't do this, but
don't listen to them, because there's another voice that tells you we can go on.
No, right? But it takes training. It takes training. It takes like
exactly. But you can make it a reflex.
Yeah.
And just prime yourself and train yourself to. That's the first voice that I hear. It's to keep going. And so many people like.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something nice and something very, very awesome to do. It's I think it's something pushing yourself, putting yourself in some situation, where you can actually learn to manage those thoughts and deal with it. And I'm excluding all the extreme. Like, some people have some actually real psychological problem, and you need to
seek professional.
Yeah, you need to seek professional. And we sometimes we don't talk about it also, but the environment, also changes a lot. We're able to do that. Yeah. Just practicing, me waking up at 5 a.m. Running. There's some people who don't have that luxury.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like, if you have 3 kids, you're
earning $1 a month.
Yeah, $1 a month. It's something really. There's so some people in the around the world that maybe sometimes do that. You don't have, being in the situation where you're
luxury.
You don't have that luxury. Yeah. You don't have even the time or the luxury to actually think about training yourself in a sense that. Yeah. So it's something you also have to consider that we're really lucky.
Absolutely, but you do have the ability to train the resilient aspect of your personality, even if those extreme situations, because you could say that they have a better test. Like, it's harder, but it actually makes you better if you were able to succeed that.
It's obvious. I don't wanna. I would not like wish for anybody to be in this situation, but when you go through it, obviously it kind of builds your character. Absolutely. I think there's some people, probably, don't quote me on that, but naturally who be able to easily go through this process, because having that mental toughness might be easier for them. But in general, I think when you're deeply inside and you're deeply in it, the stress and all the anxiety, I think you have to really train yourself. So again, if you don't have the luxury to think about it, to know what is stress, to know what is good for you, eat well, sleep, do some sport, avoid stress, and you put yourself in an environment where you can be able to do that, it's gonna be hard. Yeah. It's gonna be hard. There's some people who's able to get themselves out of the problem, and not to, en français on dit je veux pas te jeter des fleurs, mais je pense que tu as un exemple de ça, là. So, tu as comme vécu beaucoup de choses difficiles, and I think that's actually what forged your mind into going to those hard things and being able to do it. But I don't think everybody naturally would be able to do.
Because pressure breaks people, but it also makes people. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you see like you see the attrition rate in the Marine Corps, these special forces. It's like 90% people who try to be a Navy SEAL, they can't.
They fail.
The training exactly, they quit, right? It's like 7 hours of sleep in your week, and they train you like it's almost torture. And that 10%, they become Navy SEALs, and they become special forces, the elite of the elite, and that training just made them better because they're looking back after 7 years of career and they're like, that did not break me, and like I have the mental fortitude to to have people yelling in my face, to be dunked in the ocean at 4 a.m. and just having bullets whizzing past my head, and that was just a training, and it's the identity, I think. Like there's many factors that separate these people. Like why do some people they can't? Why do some people become an engineer? Like some people they started your class with you, they fell off. They switch courses, they just flunk all their classes with bad grades, but you made it. And like there's people who are more resilient, but can you be more resilient, or are you born like this? And I think you can become that, you know?
Another philosophical question, but yeah.
But I do think we can make a society that values certain aspect, and if you value and you put them on the pedestal, people want to reach that thing that people are looking with admiration. Like for say like smart people are, you know, they're admired. I mean, some people will start to talk a certain way to appear smart because they're like, oh, that has value. So yeah, if we say like resilient people, like this guy's really tough, what you're saying is like, wow, like that's a quality that's really admirable. And that's what you're doing. You're putting these aspects in a hierarchy, and you're saying like being weak is inferior to being strong. And when people understand that, they're like, oh, well, I want to be strong. Like you can produce an environment like that, and you know, like you work in a place and everybody's just like, oh, this is going to be a huge day, but like we're a good team and like we're together, and like you have an environment where there's no complaining. Because when you complain, let's say in the military, what you're doing is you're decreasing what we call the morale, and the morale it's not tangible, but it almost is. It's like when people are complaining, they're more fearful. That operation we're about to do, this is risky. We might die. So it's like, but we're like, hey, we're joking around. Like, we're getting shot at right now. We're calling Mayday, but it's like, hey man, this guy is really scared. And it's like, just an environment, and like you can make people like that. Who makes an environment? Who makes people like that? And that's the thing. It's engineerable. Like you can engineer these places, these ideas, these concepts. I think so. But yeah, absolutely. It's just.
Well, I do think so also, and from that, it always become to you know, how do you put that in place?
Yeah.
How do you make a system that is
no complaining. That's a good way to start. No complaining. Like, oh, it's cold. Yeah, you're tough, and you should be tough. Like, tough is good. And you're like, oh yeah, that's right.
I mean, it's good, but at a certain how would I say that? At a certain
extent.
At a certain extent, because I do agree with that. I mean, some people who would listen to that will it's almost comparable as like the wildlife, like who's the best and who can you put on the top, and being weak is less valuable than being at the top, because you know, in the jungle you just die if you're a zebra and your leg is cut off and you can not run really well, you'll just die because you're weaker, let's say, than another zebra. But
absolutely,
you know, we're kind of like living in a society where we put out system that we can actually put some people in a higher level in a sense, but also taking into account that not everybody are in the same level.
Absolutely, but
So that's when it's getting hard to, I think, find a balance about more of the in French it's called meritocracy.
Yeah, meritocracy.
Yeah, so you get what you work for.
Yeah.
Instead of more of like, let's say, socialism where you get into people a lot. So me, I always see it in a family way, in a sense that if I have like I have two kids actually, but let's say I have two kids. One is doing really great, haven't had any issue, haven't had any problem or anything. He's going to school normally. The other one, it's more hard. I mean, when he was young, he saw a dog that bite him, or not even like some situation that happened to him, but naturally he's less able to learn because scientifically they've discovered something within him that couldn't help him like to be able to reach his full potential.
Yeah.
Well, if I have to like buy, let's say, a computer that would help him write and read, telling him what he's writing at the same time because it will help him more understand.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that I would do because it would cost me $20,000, but I wouldn't put that $20,000 in the other kid because he didn't able to do it. So I think you have to put an environment where people have the chance to reach their potential.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think there comes the meritocracy where you're like, I've give you enough, enough tools, enough help for you to reach. Now, if you're being lazy, that's your problem. That's your main issue, and you have to deal with it, and you have to think. But you have to put some barriers where you can let the people not reach certain limits, not do certain stuff that is immoral or not unhuman, that doesn't consider the human. And after that, being competitive, it's necessary. It helps you reach another level. If you were doing competition of soccer and people were like, "Oh, you're nice, and you're gonna play," no, you have to go hard. You have to push. So you need that drive. It's essential. You just have to get that balance. But how do we do it?
Yeah, I
don't think nobody had the exact answer to that.
Yeah, but it's if you have a kid, he falls down, you don't go like, you're like, oh, you're good? Like, this is your fault. It's like, that's the thing, like, there's a message that you tell people when you're always helping them. A part of it is saying to that person, you need help. And the other part of that message is, I'm always there if there's something. Which both might just not be true. You might not always be there, that's first of all, but the thing that you need help, like, maybe you just didn't start to break your teeth with that thing. Like, you never tried. Like, it's hard, someone help me. And she's like, no, we should let you struggle a little bit with that thing. And it's not about a meritocracy or anything, it's really about shaping people into better people, like, who are more competent, stronger, like, more resilient. They don't break under pressure. I mean, if you tell people, like, oh, you're a victim, like, the society and everything like that, and they start to believe it, they cannot rely on themselves. Because life is happening to them. They don't make life. They don't make it happen every day. And
well, that's the thing. Our eternal discussion about meritocracy and what.
How we should go about it?
Yeah, what we should do. I'm not. The thing is, I'm always gonna be sensitive to the social relation and the social consideration. But I do really agree. I mean, I'm a competitive person. I do jiu-jitsu, I've done training, I'm always doing sport in my life. When I didn't have the job, I was saying I was going, the way I was working for CIMA, my place of an engineering firm, the way I got a job, I was going at the firm with an envelope, putting my resume in it, and coming with because they give you like a little ring when you're an engineer, and coming there, because I knew that people that was also engineering coming with the firm to see the boss to tell them like to talk actually about project or anything. So my goal was like actually to go there, pretend that I was going to talk about project, but give my resume.
Yeah.
And I was also going in the parking lot, talking to people, getting some phone number.
And that's how you got the job.
That's because 1 year later, at that time when I talked to the guy, he told me I didn't have a job. A year later, call him back. Oh man, I remember you. I really liked the way you were doing it, man. You were pushing. Good, you take the job, and I'll do it. So it's something that you need to push.
Yeah.
But let's go back maybe 15, 20, 30 years ago, where, for example, the immigrants were coming here, trying to find a job.
Yeah.
Where you were in an environment maybe where the head of the people who were hiring, the people who were hiring people, were not representative of the immigrants.
Yeah.
They don't know, they have some certain way of thinking of them, even getting like an apartment. So you have a lot of people who give you an example of trying to get an apartment, coming, people telling them no.
Right.
I mean, it's something easy that you can really do, and I will tell you that because when you're renting an apartment, especially if you go through a lot of stress and a lot of things, you really don't want to, your judgment kind of come through it, and you're like, I don't want this person, only because you almost went through trauma. So it's really easy for a human for somebody when they're in the position where they have the power to use it in their advantage. So that's why sometimes it's always good to have those laws that protects people. Like, I mean, you cannot discriminate. You cannot tell somebody, "Oh, I'll rent you because
you're a man,
you're a woman, you have kids, you have to be, rules." So always come to push hard, put some people push them to be resilient. All the system that we put, we're trying to do a system that is resilient, but also taking into consideration the problem that we have in society. So people have to think about it, and you have to be conscious about the problem of the people. So
absolutely, but I wouldn't find these two things mutually exclusive. Like, you could be both, and to be conscious of it comes back to the same conclusion. Like, it would be better, even if you have discrimination, it would still be better for you to be a more resilient person. It doesn't matter. Of course, it's more. It's a usable skills, but it comes to the same.
I agree. At the end, I mean,
it actually is more valuable because now you have so much more barrier and so much more stress and all these challenges that you have to overcome. So now you need even more. Like, even for more, you would I would prescribe even more resilience because you need it. And exactly. To see these two things, like, it's a choice. It's a dichotomy. I think, in my opinion, it's not that much of a dichotomy or balance. It's really like we should maximize people, like, just like education. Like, there's not a balance of education. The most people who wants to go to university, we should send them. We should have the most educated person as much as we can, realistically, But absolutely, to say but some people are not born to do that. It's like, well, I know that, but taking the situation that we have.
No, but the thing is, the point of view that you have, that eventually that's a better situation. I do think being more resilient. I mean, you cannot be.
It's like
you cannot be against being more resilient. Everybody wants to get to a certain level where they're definitely.
So that's the
more resilient. If you think about it, even let's say in the field that I work, like for the sewer, the pipe, we build it in a way that if there's a flood, we're taking into account that in 2, 3, 5, 10 years, if they build up more houses, the water, the sewer, everything. So you're building system so they could be more resilient to taking into account some certain type of problem. But there's always some issue that you cannot always think about it.
Yeah.
And if you just think about being more resilient, and having that meritocracy, it's just that you don't consider all the other aspect of life and the other aspect of life.
Yeah,
So it's just that pushing that part is great, but you need to balance it with the compassion, understanding, taking into other people way of thinking, being understanding to other people. Again, the example I've always seen the picture of in French is like égalité et équitable. So égalité in French would be like, if you want to see, if there's a fence and you want to see like a football game, if you say everybody is équitable, so on the same level, you put a kid on the same level of the table, you put a 7 feet guy on the same table, you put somebody that is on a wheelchair, so they're all equal, but they're not actually in the same level in the sense that they're not able to see the game, so you have to like level up, think about it. I mean, you don't have to do it in the sense that the guy who's 7 saying, man, it's not my problem, and I'm not the one who put you in a wheelchair, it's not my problem that you were a young kid, but we're living in a society, we're living in the guy who's a billionaire and who's making like tons of money and who actually can buy the whole city. It's fun, but he's not gonna.
I want to talk about it financially in the sense of like, if I have $1 and I give you $1, I don't have it anymore. It's like a zero-sum game. But I have resilience, and I'm helping you in a way that's not financial by making you more resilient. It's like we both are stronger people, and that's my point. Where it's like the best way to help that person. I don't think it's to lift him higher. It's like to let himself lift himself higher. That's my point.
But like, how is he gonna do it?
Well, you give them tools, you give them opportunity, and you give them the encouragement. And that's my point. Like a lot of people, they stop themselves, and you have to be like, no, you push. Like you support them, like your wife supported you. Like, and it's not about like someone should give you a tripod. It's like it's someone pushing you for you to go get it. And that's the thing. Like it should be more encouraged.
Yeah, it should be more encouraged. But the question is always how they do it. For example, for the triplex, let's say the bank usually they take 20%. So if you want to buy a house, it's 20%.
As a down payment.
As a down payment, because it's a risk. If the bank finance you at 100%, you don't want to pay anymore. You didn't put any money in the house, and the bank will deal with other problems. So you put the 20%. There's a risk, shared risk. But for example, for the house, for the triplex, I didn't have 20%. So there's a CMHC, in French is SCHL, who actually is financed by the government. It's a governmental program, and it's actually an insurance for the bank. So they're actually telling people, we know that you don't have 20%. For a 400K house, it's like $80,000.
80 grand, yeah.
You don't have 80 grand? Okay, that's cool. Instead of like asking for 80 grand, we're gonna put an insurance for the bank's gonna be insured. That if you don't pay, or maybe you, anyway, if you don't pay the bank, if you go bankrupt or whatever, the bank will try and sell the house, but if not, we will reimburse them. So actually the state, the government is taking money out of your pocket or out of somebody else's pocket, as the taxes, putting it in the fund and saying like, people, you don't have enough for 20%, we're gonna ask you to just give 5%. So you could have a house. But if that was not able. Man, I'm still have to find a triplex.
You still have to find the 5%.
Yeah, I have to find the 5%. I have to find
Okay.
the triplex that is well renoved. So I have to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
But you know,
Yeah.
if I wanted to be, if I wanted to have the chance to get to that level,
Yeah.
at least I have that 5%. But if I don't have that 5%,
Mm.
and people say you want to be more resilient, let's say deal with your stuff and find a way to get the 20%. Somebody would say that, somebody would say get your stuff, but getting access to the property is really hard, and that's one of the way to get it. So
Yeah.
it's well, when you were saying like give the guys the tools that in a wheelchair to, that's the kind of tool you give them. You're like,
Yeah.
I'm taking money not from the pocket of another one, but we're giving a lot of money to taxes, and they distribute it in a way so the general
Population.
could be more resilient. I think that's the way you should think about it, in the sense that they were giving you enough tool to be more resilient,
Yeah.
and after that you will definitely have some people. I mean,
Yeah.
naturally, even all the you will always have people that is way more intelligent, way more faster, way more. There's artists, there's other stuff, other things. So I don't think I would never want to be in a social.
Socialist.
Yeah, in a socialist, because I mean, giving all the money to the government and he's always dealing with all the stuff. I think you need some innovation. You need the people to
Yep.
be able to do that. So,
And so you invested in triplex. Did you thought about getting other kinds of avenues in real estate, like
Attention,
wholesaling?
ceux et celles qui désirent emprunter des systèmes culturels, veuillez vous présenter au comptoir de prêt. Merci.
We might wrap it up. The library is closing, but thanks you for taking the time.
oh.
It was a pleasure talking real estate.
Yeah, I thought
resilience.
I thought the interview would be I say 1 hour. Now it's almost 1 hour and a half, almost 2. But no, it's I mean to wrap it up with your question. My goal is actually like to keep on doing on real estate. Right now I have the triplex, I have the duplex. We have some lot that we are developing.
Yeah.
And you know the goal was always being financially independent. So just being able to replace your income and having the time. I always say it might be cliche, but just having the time to. We went to travel this summer.
Yeah.
The whole family went to Europe. That's the kind of money you don't get if you don't invest, or if you don't have enough savings or enough income to do that. So it's just to keep on doing that, being more resilient again.
Yeah, exactly.
Financially independent and resilient, so that I can just after that doing a fun project. I think it's mostly on lots. I think gathering some lots. I think having lots, it's very nice. You develop it. You don't have to go through a lot of processing and administration and managing project.
Yeah.
Because when you're doing like renovation or stuff, you need to be there. Like, there's contract, there's money, there's
it's hands-on.
Yeah, you're always there. When you're doing like a project on land, and you just somebody draw the plan for you.
Yeah.
Give it to the city. You deal with the city. There's actually never an emergency if you don't do something. So and give you a lot of money. So
absolutely, it was great. Got to do a part 2, part 3.
Part 3, part 7 when I'll be able to build your 10-level unit.
Exactly. It's a new unit. Absolutely.
And maybe also in Senegal. That's one of the
absolutely.
Going to Senegal. Yeah. Non, c'est ça.
Yes.
Muna nga def tamit wolof.
Yeah.
Beneen nga def ko wolof.
Exactly.
Yun ne ko Sénégal quoi. Ñu war leen.
Let's go.
J'espère que ça